perfect. Um, I'm gonna pin myself. Okay, fantastic. So I thought the menu for today, we're gonna do a little bit of hand stuff and hip stuff. So we'll do both of those. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you both, but you can always add something to the chat box, or unmute if you like. So let's start with a little bit of just grounding and breathing, and then we'll move in the direction of unwinding the body. So finding a comfortable way to be, whether it's sitting in a chair, sitting on the floor, lying down, whatever feels right for you. Maybe closing the eyes or taking a low gaze, either way. And beginning to observe the body as you're finding some stillness. What's arriving for you? I'm noticing a little creakiness between the shoulder blades. And so just whatever it makes sense for you, whether to kind of add a little bit of movement, a sigh, or an exhale to create maybe some spaciousness and where you feel some attention is needed. So just taking a few moments to lightly scan the body. So maybe moving from the top of the head through the shoulders, around the chest, into the back, further down into the lumbar spine, into the hips. Maybe what you're noticing in the legs and the feet. And of course, as you move through, sliding attention through the arms and the hands. And any sort of creakiness or cobwebs, if a little movement or shifting would feel good for that part of the body, then you can do that. And just notice by taking out sight, whether you're looking at the ground or closing the eyes, right? Are you able to attune a little more closely to what you're feeling from the inside out? And if you're not, sometimes I like to add a little touch or maybe a little breath in that space just to see if I can notice change, sensitivity, increased awareness. And then tuning in just a little deeper. What is the quality or the pattern of the breathing? Just by simply observing the breath, it will automatically change it a little bit. So noticing if the breath feels, quite quick or shallow, what would it be like to deepen it, expand it, or give it more roundedness? By roundedness, I mean sometimes we tend to breathe just the belly moving in and out, but can you feel the side ribs? Can you feel the back body? Can you feel an envelopment of more of the torso rather than, right, just a sort of a one direction or a linear type of breathing? And last, what can you soften? Maybe it's your thoughts. Maybe it's a rigidity in ideas or expectations. Maybe it's, sometimes it shows up on our face or in a certain part of our body when there's something unfamiliar or a movement or an anticipation. So, smoothing the space between the brow, maybe even softening, right, somewhere else in the body. How can we sort of lighten or soften something? So, today we're working with, those opposites, this idea of equanimity. We do it all day long. Like I commented earlier on the cold, but yet I've got beautiful blue skies. Or we might have a certain political climate, but yet things might feel peaceful in another area. Or in caregiving, or whatever is happening in your life right now might feel like an upheaval, but is there a moment like this hour that you're giving yourself that is a sense of calm, ease, or peace? So equanimity is being able to hold these two opposite and not be really rattled by it. So how can I rest, right? Rest in my intuition and my own being, my ability to care for myself while all of these things are happening. And when you feel ready, you can exhale or sigh and then open the eyes. You might even kind of move the neck, head, or shoulders around a little bit, create a little softening somewhere. We're actually going to start. I mentioned, if you're joining us late, that we were going to work a little bit with the hands today. So you'll take one hand, and it's probably your dominant hand, and just begin to, and you can palpate the palm of the hand. Um, if this doesn't work for you, you've got neuropathy in your hand, numbness, or sensitivity, or you're not able to grip. You could also use a ball. You could also palm the floor with your hand just to create some sensitivity. So there's always ways that you can modify or alter whatever it is I'm saying. I don't have much of fingernails, so I'm using the pad of my thumb. If you have fingernails, you want to make sure you use more of the base of your thumb. And then you're just kind of moving all around. You might get toward the joints of the fingers, or you can even trace in between the bones. So moving up and in between. And right, so we have some of our most nerve endings in our fingers, our feet, and our mouth, our tongue. So um, those are some of the most nerve endings that you have in your whole body. And then you might take, I kind of almost twist, like I was going to twist a cap off, and I just twist down each finger. And getting the spaces, we have a lot of sensitivity between the fingers, and just moving down each finger as it goes, and not neglecting the thumb. So moving down along that space. And then the back of the palm, I like to trace between the bones, um, right on the top of the hand as well. And then last, my favorite part actually is to take a hold of the wrist. So I'm going to clasp just below. So this is your carpal tunnel here, and you'll feel the two bones which adjoin through the wrist. But I'm going to go just below that and gently clasp it, and then open and close that hand. Now see if you can notice, right, when the fingers open wide, right, it widens the carpal tunnel. When you make a fist, it narrows the carpal tunnel. So can you feel that underneath your hand, that widening and narrowing? And then with that stability, so I'm holding the joint still, I'm just going to circle the wrist. If I didn't hold it, right, I might just end up moving the whole arm. But if I hold it and give it some stability, then I can circle it. Ooh, and I feel some sensitivity right along the outside there, the tendon. So I don't know if you have like a text thumb going on, but that's what I'm feeling. Like, ooh, that texting finger. And so I feel a little bit of a ping there. So it feels nice actually to kind of isolate it. All right, and then sort of shake that out. Now relax your arms by your side. You can put your hands in your lap, closing the eyes or just a low gaze. Notice the difference in the right and left hands. You might have some stimulation in the hand that did the work, but probably not as much. If I were to ask you to imagine opening a door inside the wrist and walking inside, could you feel a pumping, a circulation, a movement in that hand? And what's the aliveness like? Is it warm, cool, tingly, um, pumping, throbbing, softening, tense? So just kind of noticing the difference between the right and the left. Now take your attention to the hand that you did not touch, the hand that did the work, and just imagine opening a door, walking inside. Can you start to feel a pulse, a warmth, a coolness? So now you're leaning into, even though you didn't touch it, you're just using your mind. Can I start to notice some aliveness in the hand that I didn't even touch? Hopefully, you're feeling a little bit, if not, feeling a little more balanced. And we'll go ahead and open the eyes and move to the other side. So that exercise is so powerful. It's the trick of the mind. It's meaning we have the power to create, right? Sensitivity from the inside out just by thinking about it. Earlier, I asked you to pay attention to your breath, but not change it. Well, just the art of paying attention to it will actually change your breath. So we have this somatic skill and power. And if you don't feel like you've got it, it's something you can cultivate. You can begin to increase awareness. And we do that by tactile sensation. They say that, right? Just thinking about meditation isn't really the same, which is true. But actually practicing it, right, is how, whatever that meditation is, whether it's walking meditation or looking at flowers or artwork, or whether we're sitting in meditation quietly by just noticing thoughts go by. And then if you haven't already, thumb in between the bones and the joints here. So there's so many ways that we can improve our own awareness to affect change in the body and to dampen down or right soften the nervous system so it's not always charged and hypervigilant. All right, and then again, however you'd like to do this, my favorite is the twisting, but you could also, I call this the inchworm. I can inchworm down my finger. So I just kind of pinch it and then move down. Or if you like the twisting better, whatever works for you. And then the twisting works if I hold right steady. So I'm not letting my hand move when I twist. Oh, this hand is my dominant hand. So it's like just enjoying the love. I don't know if you're feeling that. It's like, oh, thank you. And then you'll go ahead and do the opposite side. So I'm going to go on the top of my hand and just trace down the bones. And yeah. When was the last time that you gave yourself a hand massage? It's probably been a while, or maybe not at all. I don't know. Yeah. So I would encourage you to take sort of this and put it in your back pocket. I know feet are weird. People are weird about feet, but you can later today maybe give your foot a little bit of massage and do the same exercise of noticing, rub one, not the other. Ooh, notice the aliveness, and then do the other side. Or if you're lucky enough to have someone who's willing. I used to pay my kid in nickels. Be like, here, here's a coin. Will you rub my feet or shoulders? And they would be like all over it. It wouldn't last very long because coins. All right, and then shake it out. We're gonna hold that wrist. I've got a rubber band on my hand. I'm gonna hold that wrist and then just open and close and just notice. I love this because this actually lets you notice, right, the inside of the body. Imagine that, a fist. So the joint closes because it's preparing for some kind of, right, tension or action. So it's narrowing naturally. When the hand opens, right, it's preparing to receive. The bones widen there and the circulation, right, is increased because you are, right, opening the hand and performing some kind of action. It's just the coolest thing ever. Your body is amazing. All right, make a fist and then go ahead and circle and then reverse the circle. And so just getting into like I don't know, you probably can't hear my snap, crackle, pop, and then it stops. So I gave myself a little bit of hand adjustment here, a little chiropractic work. So just noticing, ooh, what feels sensitive. And I can also feel when I held on the outside, that tendon is kind of sensitive from all of my texting. All right, when you're ready, shake that out. Notice the difference. Is it starting to feel a little more balanced? Is there more warmth in both hands and a tingly sensation? I hope so. We're going to move in the direction of our mat. And so I'm making an assumption, right? You don't have to have a mat. You can do it on a carpet. You can do it on any sort of surface that feels comfortable for you. If you have props, you might gather those. If you've got blocks and you know you like to use blocks. Last week we did a chair class. So if you're just joining us now and you want to receive the prior recordings, this is the last week of our 8-week series, drop your email address into the chat box and I will send you a link to all of the recordings so you can go back and do them in your own timing. So if you'd like to do that, I'll make sure I capture that before we leave. And I just asked, if you're just joining us, if you would gather your mat, some other props, anything else that might be useful to you. You know, if your balance is off a little bit, you could be close or near a wall. That might be helpful. And if you're just joining us, I'll introduce myself again. I'm Melissa Smith in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I've been teaching yoga for, God, 25-ish years, longer than that. And fitness since I was 15 years old. Can you believe that? That was just a few years ago. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to grab my extra mat here. And it's chilly where I am, so I'm extra layered today. We're actually going to start standing. We had a request to do a little bit of work in the hips, and our theme is to connect the body all the way through, which is why we started with an extremity of the hands. And also, right, it's that idea of working with equanimity. We can feel the sensation in one hand, might feel alive, the other hand might feel dull. So working with this idea of opposites, and we'll do that in our last bit of class in our relaxation as well. So I still have my socks on because my feet are cold today, but whatever you need to do to stay safe on your surface. So I'm coming into mountain or Tadasana, my feet just slightly apart. Inhale, lift your shoulders towards your ears and roll your shoulder blades back, and then relax your shoulders. Do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. So anytime we work with the shoulders, the hands, the arms, they're a mirror to our pelvis, our legs, and our feet. Because if we have stiffness in the upper body, we might also have some stiffness in the pelvis because they are right interrelated through the trajectory of the spine. Begin to roll one shoulder back and the other one forward. And notice that my pelvis starts to move with it. Go ahead and let it move. And I'm actually going to start bending one knee and then the other knee. When you walk, you have torsion. So I step 1 foot forward, right, and I swing. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's what happens, is a twist in the spine. And so the pelvis goes with it. So the more that I bend my knees, I'm getting a little more freedom in the shoulders and in the pelvis. So noticing what that's like. So if I'm really rigid, I could just isolate my shoulders, but here I want to feel it all the way through my spine like a spiral. And you could even let your elbows be involved in that. It's up to you. And maybe 1 or 2 more. And I'm just bending the knees and moving through the elbows. Perfect. Here, I'm going to let my arms float out to the side, roll the palms of my hands up and open. I'm going to bend my elbows a little bit. And then as I move my thumbs back, I'm going to feel a spreading from armpit to armpit through the center of my chest. As my thumbs move back, now I'm going to press my pelvis. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. I'm actually going to press my pelvis slightly forward and lift the center of my heart. When I press the pelvis forward, there's a glute squeeze that's happening, and I can feel the front of my quads and my shins get some tension. And then I'm going to round my back, slide my hands down the legs, going into Uttanasana or forward bend. Tip some weight to the balls of the feet. Bend your knees a lot until your finger pads can touch the floor. And then you'll alternate bending one knee and straightening the other. When you do that, you're aiming to shift the sits bones up toward the ceiling and feel the difference in the right and the left leg. I've got my head tilted forward because I'm looking at you all, but drop your chin to your chest and drop the crown of your head down. So as I bend and lengthen one leg, it's almost like I'm pedaling or trying to walk. So if I were to step, right, that's the feeling. I want to put weight into that one side and then weight into the other side, almost like I'm pushing the floor down or trying to climb stairs, even though I'm in a forward bend. On your next breath, you're going to slide the hands all the way up to the shins. Now here, my buttocks is moving back, and I'm going to lift from my chest as I bend my knees and sit into a chair pose. So as I sit into a chair pose, my pelvis is going back and my knees, they can go over your toes because guess what? When you get up from a chair, they go over your toes. So I think there's a lot of emphasis in yoga and not doing that, but you already do it all day, every day when you get up and down from a chair. So I'm going to sit just a little bit deeper, but I'm moving back through the pelvis. So I'm firing up the quads here. We're going to practice a little bit of balance here. As I shift my weight toward the balls of my feet, I'm going to lift my heels. I can either imagine lifting my heels or I could lift them a lot. But I almost want to feel like I'm going forward, 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 and getting a big round or a protraction through the shoulders. On your next exhale, the heels go down and the body goes forward into a bend again. Shake the head no, nod the head yes. And then one more time, pedaling the knees, bending right and left. It's almost again like I'm stepping and stepping. So that's how much weight you want to pour one side to the other. Can you feel, right, activity through the back of the leg, through the hamstring, and when on the bent knee, the quadricep, which is the front of the thigh. Now bend both knees. The weight goes back through the pelvis, and then I'm going to lift up through my chest and sit back. As I sit back, reach those arms forward. One more time, tilt your weight toward the balls of the feet so you can lift your heels a little bit. Sit a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower. As much as it feels comfortable for you to lift those heels, or just imagine lifting the heels if that's too much today. Notice the quads really fire up and how, right, the stability of the glutes holds you in place. One more breath. We're going to stand tall, so drop the arms, stand in Tadasana, and relax your shoulders down. Inhale, stretch all the way up. Can you feel that movement we did earlier of opening the chest, lifting the heart up, reaching the arms all the way up? Bend your knees, fold all the way forward. Uttanasana forward bend, relax the back of the neck. We're going to bring the hands down to the earth and step back one at a time with our legs. As you step back, here begin to shift weight side to side, right and left. So I'm feeling the weight in the hands, right and left. Now, what is your wrist telling you? If that's too much, I want to walk the hands further. That's going to decrease the angle of the wrist and decrease the load in the upper body. Underneath my shoulder increases the load in my wrist. So if you have any wrist issues, this is a little bit more challenging. And then put both hands down, press with your finger pads really strong and try to lift your wrist. So I'm going to push with my fingers and I have all my weight here. If my weight was back, it would be easy to lift my wrist. But my weight is there. I'm going to try to lift the wrist. Push through your fingers and lift the wrist. It should feel really hard. So you want to make it hard. So I'm going to press and lift and press and lift. Now push with the hands and sit all the way back into child's pose. If child's pose is not accessible for you, you could go onto your elbows and be partway up. But if you have access to move the pelvis back, reach the arms as far forward as you can. From here, walk the hands off to the right or the left, doesn't matter, and take the hips off to the other side. So it is a lateral stretch for one side of the body. Drop the head down if you can. Take a breath in. Now, if I walk the hands off to the right, I'm going to push the right hand down and lift the left. I'm going to stretch and reach it. Reach as far as I can. Good. And then lower that back down. Walk the hands back through the center. Push through the feet, come back into all fours, and try to take another lift of the wrists. Again, it should feel really hard. If it doesn't feel hard, you're probably compensating by moving into your knuckles. You really want to press into your fingers and lift the wrist to the knuckles. And then on your next breath, push back and reach back into child's pose again. Walk your hands forward. Drop the chin down, reaching. On your next breath, walk the hands to the opposite side and the pelvis goes out to the side. So I'm making this diagonal line all the way across, getting a stretch through the lower back. So if this isn't right for you today, you could also flip over and lie on your back, bring your knees into your chest. That would create stability in the back, but it would decrease load on the knees. So if you're having issues with the knees, then that would be the way to create a modification. Push down with the hand that's furthest away and then lift one hand. So I'm pushing to lift and I want to feel my side obliques fire up and turn on. Take another full breath here. And then exhale, lower all the way down. We're going to walk the hands back through the center and then we'll slide down to our belly. So I'm going to start bending as I slide my hands forward. I'm going to start bending my elbows and lower all the way down to the belly. So one way to work with lower back discomfort is to actually see what your capacity is without pushing. So I'm going to press the tops of my feet down, press my pelvis to the ground, and then inhale, lift the chest and let go of the floor. By letting go of the floor, I have my back's natural range of motion. So here I want to roll the shoulder blades as much as I can back, reach the elbows as far as I can back. I'm not lifting with the chin. I'm lifting with the back of my neck. Take another full breath here. Then lower the hands, lower the nose, look behind you to press all the way back. You can stay in child's pose if you would like to do a downward dog today. This would be your place to do it. I would curl the toes under and lift the pelvis, reaching through the arms. Not necessary. You could also just be in all fours today or child's pose. We'll take 2 more breaths. Whatever you've chosen is perfect. One more inhale. And then whether you're in downward dog or all fours, we'll meet in all fours. Walk your hands towards your knees and step one leg forward. Doesn't matter which one. From here, I'm going to lean forward and move toward the front of that kneecap. So now I'm getting a gentle stretch right through what we call the psoas muscle. So this particular part of the pelvis, right, is the back of your front foot swing. So when I walk, I step forward with one leg, the other leg is behind me. This is an exaggerated variation, right? So I'm getting that stretch. Option to curl the toe under and gently lift the back knee either a little, which is going to be hard, or a lot, which will be easier. So you decide, do I want to do a little and hover, or do I want to lift a lot and let it be easier? I have my hands just gently resting on the front of my thigh. Take another full breath there. Keep moving the front knee forward. So I'm not back here, but I'm actually back here using the strength of my quad. I could also be holding a chair or the wall. And then I'll lower the back knee down. We'll take this arm and just rest it on top of that thigh. And I'm going to move toward the open side. So my hand that's free, I'll roll the shoulder back and open that arm toward my back leg. So here, I'm not leaning back, but I'm actually reaching forward with the pelvis, but I'm getting torsion through the spine. Then from here, I'm going to circle the arm up if I have access to that. If I don't have access, I would just keep it back or the hand on the pelvis. You have options here. You can stay here, or I'm going to put my weight, push through the front foot, push through the back foot, and lift that back knee to come into a side angle pose. My back heel is still up, which is going to create some hip separation and spaciousness in my sacrum. Normally we do this with the back heel down, but I'm cueing it today with it up. Take one more breath. Then on your next exhale, I'm going to sweep those arms down toward the ground. Back knee comes down. My other foot joins it. Either child's pose or downward dog or all fours. We worked on the finger pressure. So whatever you've chosen, press more into the fingers than you do resting into the heel of the hands. One more breath. Whatever you're doing is perfect. Meet in all fours. We'll walk the hands toward the knees and step the opposite leg forward. I'm going to turn around so that you can see me do the other side. You can stay as you are. And then here, I'm going to take my hands and just rest them on the thigh as I begin to lean forward. I'm not collapsing. Collapse kind of looks like jelly, and I feel all the weight right at the hip groin. But I want to push through the front foot enough to feel like I'm controlling the amount of reach forward that I have. And I'm on the front side of that knee, not on top of the kneecap, if possible. Take another breath here. Breathe in and breathe out. I'm going to curl that back foot under, and you have the option to hover. You have the option to lift a lot. You get to choose. So notice what happens here. When I hover, I'm still getting that stretch here, or I could just imagine hovering by pushing that back foot really strong, and that might be enough. If I'm here, great. If I straighten that leg, do you notice how my torso goes forward? I could also lean back and get a little more here, but I want to keep bending the front knee. So wherever you are, it's perfect. And then one more breath here, you'll start to lower that back knee till it kisses the earth. Perfect. And then that forearm comes to the front leg. We'll take this shoulder and roll it back and then reach behind you. So wherever it goes, whether it's here, here, or you need to turn the torso more, would depend on your shoulder's capacity. I'm still pushing through my front foot like crazy. If I didn't, I would collapse. So I want to press through that front foot. Now, if you like, you could take that arm up. Notice that pull from the wrist to the elbow, to the shoulder, to the knee. Or I could lift the back leg, keep the back heel up for hip separation, and be in side angle pose here. Arm could also be up or behind you. Take another couple of breaths wherever you are. Find that sweet spot just for your body. And then we're going to roll forward. The hands come down, the knee comes down, step back, either downward dog or child's pose. I'm going to take a variation of child's pose. Maybe you wiggle the hips, whether you're in downward dog or child's pose. There's a big bellowing breath in. So breathe in full and then exhale completely. Another breath, big bellowing breath. And exhale all the way out. Walk the hands and the knees toward one another, or if you're in downward dog, all fours, then walk the hands and knees. We're going to get up without using our hands, shift to one side, step one leg forward, and step the other leg up. So now we're back in Tadasana or mountain pose. Good. And just pause here and check in. Close the eyes if you can. Breathe in. And slow breath out. One more. Breathe in. And slow breath out. Good. You'll choose a leg. And I'm going to start to lean into that leg and bend the other knee. I'm going to take the leg behind me and just tap it. That leg that I just tapped, I'm going to use that same side arm. I'm going to give a little side body stretch. So I'm using that for balance, like a kickstand behind me, and I reach up. I could take a hold of that wrist and reach more. So I really want to get that long side body stretch all the way through. If I wanted a little more psoas sensation, I'm actually going to bring the glutes forward. If that crisscross doesn't feel right for your sacrum, you could just have that foot slightly behind you and the knee bent, or you could stand both feet tall, right? But here I'm getting a little more exaggerated. Good. And we're going to sweep. So I'm going to step that foot wide and sweep down and around and pause in that forward bend. My feet are wider than my hips, and I let the back of my neck go, maybe even bend the knees a little. Take another full breath in and long, slow breath out. Bend your knees, lift your heart, come through chair pose, arms go forward. Maybe you lift up onto the balls of the feet, maybe you don't. You get to decide what feels good for you, a little balance challenge. And then slowly stand tall. You'll sweep the opposite leg behind you and reach that other arm up. As you reach up, that pelvis could come slightly forward. So there's that pubic bone press. And I could take a hold of the opposite wrist. And I do that to pull, to reach, like I'm trying to reach for something on the ceiling. And this back foot is that balance, that kickstand. Take another full breath here. Maybe the pelvis comes forward a little bit. Maybe the chest rolls open more. Maybe you lean more. You choose. And then on your breath, you're going to circle. Keep circling. You're moving away from the back leg and then step the leg to the side and forward bend. Circle the head like a bobblehead. Let it kind of bounce or be buoyant. So there's an ease to it. Good. Bend both knees. The pelvis goes back. The arms go forward. Chair or Utkatasana. Good. One more breath. Maybe you're on the balls of the feet again. And then lift all the way up. We're going to start with the legs a little bit wide again. Hands on the ridge or the top of the pelvis, and sit the hips back into chair pose. I'm going to bend one knee and come up to the toe of that leg. And then I'm going to circle open the knee from the hip. So I'm going to move it like a barn door. I'm going to open it up. Good. I might cross it in front. The toe is crossing the front of the shin. I might sit back further and slide it higher so that it's crossing the top of the quad. So I could have it on the floor or I could have it up. The purpose of having the hands on the ridge of the pelvis is so that you're not hip hiking one side or the other. It should feel relatively level. So whatever you've chosen is great. Flex the top foot so the toes are moving to the shin. Then push down with that leg as you reach the pelvis further back. Good. Now you could take the arms out to the side, bend your elbows, lift your chest a little. Or you can take another variation, which is hands together. Or the ever so glamorous one, hands on the ears, which looks silly, but it helps with balance. Take another full breath there. Sit back a little bit more so you're getting that stretch. If that's too much or doesn't feel right for the sacrum, lift the knee so it aims toward the shoulder, and that's going to broaden the sacrum. On your breath, unwind and shake that out. Yeah. Good. Perfect. Feel stability before you start to create movement. So take a breath. Feel your feet widening on your mat. Feel your shoulders softening and your jaw relax. Start to sit into that chair pose again. Let the hands rest on the top or the ridge of the pelvis. So the front fingers are moving toward what we call the ASIS, the anterior part of your hip, and the thumbs move back to the posterior or the back part. Now here I'm going to start to shift my weight, come to the toe of one foot. Then I might cross it across, keeping the toe to the floor, and I bend forward, so I'm almost pushing into the calf. Or I could slide that leg up, right? So what we've done, right, is that barn door is open. We want to make sure we have external rotation. Here, I'm not pushing the knee down. What happens to my hip when I do that? It hip hikes and crunches. I actually want to keep the hips nice and level and use the momentum of going back like I'm going to sit into a chair. My front foot is flexed, my toes move to the shin, and I'm pushing down. When I push down, that's giving more stability for the pose. And I have more, it almost feels like more surface area in order to balance. I can move my arms out and lift the chest. I can hold the ears. I can do a little dance. What is it you need to do in this pose? It's all perfect. You're really listening to what your body needs. Keep moving the hips back, 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 back. Keep flexing, keep pressing. Levelness. One more breath. It's almost like the pubic bone could travel toward the back of the neck. There's a connection there. And then on your next breath, you'll unlace both legs down and come all the way to stand. Whew, and let that go. So check in. What do we notice now about the pelvis? And what are you noticing about the relationship to the shoulders? We'll swivel, I'm going to step back so you can see me, swivel the arms all the way up, even wiggling your fingers. Now see if you can connect all these pieces. Fingers, shoulders, torso, legs and feet. And as you keep reaching, move toward the balls of your feet like you're going to lift your heels. And what do you notice? What's helping you keep your balance? On your next exhale, we'll lower the heels, bend forward, lift the pelvis, and relax the back of the neck. Forward bend. Tip a little bit of weight toward the balls of the feet. Hands go down to the floor, step back, all fours. Long spine here, as if you're trying to pull your chest through. Then push back again into child's pose and plant your elbows this time. So as you plant your elbows, your hands and fingers could touch one another, and my head dips down. So curl the head into the chest as you move your thumbs toward the back of your neck. This is a great opportunity to take those thumbs and press whatever it reaches, if it reaches the neck. So I can give myself a little bit of self-massage there. And as you're pushing down into the ground, right, with the elbows, you can keep walking them forward to get that, right, that flexion and that stretch. You got it. One more breath. And then release that. Walk the hands toward the knees, lift up through the heart. We're going to come down to seated and bring the soles of the feet together. If for any reason this shape in the body isn't right for you, experiment with a couple of different things. Walking the legs further out might lessen any pinching on the sacrum and lower back. Notice how it lifted my knees a little bit. I have more, generally speaking, bodies typically have more external rotation the closer the feet are. So you might notice that my knees go wider. I don't have a whole lot of external rotation. And what helps me with my range of motion is a little bit of co-contraction. So taking your feet, push your feet together. It's going to lift your knees and it's going to fire up your inner groin, your psoas, the connection of that walking muscle that we use to walk, right, is right at the inner groin and right back in the back of T12. So I'm going to push my feet together, my knees lift, and then I'm going to relax them. So do that again. I'm not pulling with my upper body here. Sometimes I'll even use some feedback. So if you have a chair or a wall, You could even lean against it to get more height in the back if you tend to be kyphotic. But push the feet together, feel that inner groin lighten up and really almost create tension, and then let that go. Now, if you wish, you have the option to fold forward, to come into flexion, which will probably feel nice for the lower back. Don't worry about coming in with a flat back today. Let the back be rounded. So I'm going to walk my hands forward. And the reason I'm doing that is it's so tempting to pull and to pull yourself into the shape. But I'm more interested in what the body's actually able to do, which makes it sustainable. So I'm going to walk my hands forward and just notice already my back is rounding, and that's okay. I'm pushing a little bit more with my feet, and not just together, but I'm pushing my feet downward. And that's giving me some traction. If I wanted to feel more hamstring, I would pull the feet as if I'm trying to scoop it in toward the groin. That's going to turn on my hamstrings. If you want to feel more back sensation, you would imagine pushing your feet away. That's going to curl the tailbone under and give you that sensation of a longer lower back stretch. Relax the neck. We'll take just a couple of breaths here. Breathe in and breathe out. And one more. And breathe out. When I come up, I'm going to take my hands to the outer legs and bring them together. Stretch both legs straight out ahead of you, and we'll do that stretch again with elongated legs. But before we go forward, let's go back. So I'm going to reach my fingertips behind me, that same back bend that we've been doing. I'm going to push down with the finger pads and lift the chest, drawing the scapula, which is the bony wings of your back, together toward the spine and lifting the center of the chest. My pubic bone actually flips back a little bit, so I have a little bit of an anterior tilt to the pelvis, and I'm not exaggerating the tilt of the cervical spine. I want to feel ease there. And then when you're ready, you can crawl forward. So I just take my time. You want to move at the pace of your nervous system when we're doing sort of deeper stretches. Here, actively press the back of your thighs toward the ground and flip the tailbone toward the wall behind you. Imagine you're moving the back of the neck toward the toes. So that's the part that's going to reach. And I have my hands on the floor rather than my legs or feet so that I can just feel like, oh, what is it in my spine that wants to be more fluid rather than rigid? So I can use the floor to create fluidity rather than rigidity. One more breath here. Now, as you come up, scoop the back of the knees, bend them in one at a time, and we're going to lie onto the back. Before you do that, you might make sure you've got a head support or a blanket for the body for our final relaxation. Just nestling yourself in as comfortable as you like. If you're near a couch, you could even put your legs over, swing them over a couch in a little bit. But whatever feels really right for you, roll down onto the back. Rock side to side or forward and back or circular motion. This is a great place to check in with the hips, the pelvis, and the shoulders. So as your knees are toward the chest, what are you noticing? Is my chin popping up and back, or can I feel length in the back of the neck? Are my shoulders having access to the ground, or does it feel like they're kyphotic? Can I reach the tailbone down and feel a spreading across the upper back? And then take a few more moments to do any movements that might feel good for you. So it may be a twist. Let the knees go one direction and open and feather the arms out. You could even take a variation of legs up, which we call Viparita Krani. It's just stretching the legs toward the sky or your ceiling. And then can you soften into your breath? And even if it's not, you're like, is this a yoga pose? I don't know. It doesn't matter. When you move your body, what are you noticing on the inside? What is the feeling, the sensation? And that's what we're aiming for. Shining a light to pay attention to sensations creates this new dynamic between you and your body, meaning we're not going to ignore it. We want to pay attention to what's happening and the cues that our body gives us so that we can take exquisite care of our bodies. And as caregivers or whatever it is you're tasked with throughout the day, this is so critical. You don't have to take a full hour to do this kind of check-in. You can simply, right, reach your arms up or roll your shoulders and feel something new or different. And then begin to settle into Shavasana or final relaxation here. And that would be legs long, or if you have some discomfort in the low back, it could just be feet on the floor, knees toward the ceiling as the knees are bent. You could also roll to your side and kind of cuddle up with pillows or move to the couch if you want. You're at home. You get to luxuriate in a way that feels relaxing or edifying for you. If you're not at home and you're been doing this in an office, you could literally put your hands on a desk and rest the head down. There's so many ways to find rest, and our conditions do not have to be perfect in order to do so. We'll take just a couple more breaths here. Can you bellow the breath in and out? And as you've settled, I have I wanted to share with you one of my favorite poems. And I read it a lot, and it's just always feels so relevant and so right on for me. And this idea, right? We talked about equanimity of holding opposites. It's like when the world feels unkind, can we also look for kindness? When we don't feel like our shiniest self, can we find something in someone else that gives us that softness or a tip of ease? And this poem is called Small Kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull their legs in to let you by, or how strangers will say, "Bless you," when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we're saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handling it, to smile at them and for them to smile back. The waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy? These fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first." Or, "I like your hat." As you lay there, maybe you're reflecting on a recent kindness that you've offered or received. And you can reach as far back as you need to. Notice how it makes you feel to reflect on that. Is there a little lining of maybe hopefulness or softening in the heart or even a vulnerability to it? take just a few more breaths. And if you feel you still need to lay in Shavasana, you can certainly ignore me and we'll be logging off soon. And you can just continue. I find one of the most edifying ways to rest for me is actually to set a timer, because then I'm not thinking about the time and I can just be rather than being worried about how much I have left or. And as you feel ready, you can expand or contract the body, so drawing inward or moving outward. Breathe in long, full, and deep, and exhale as completely as you can. And when you feel ready, you can roll to one side and come all the way up. Otherwise, you can just stay as you are. Check in with yourself. What are you noticing now compared to when you started? What part of your body feels like alive or awake? What part feels maybe more quiescent or calm? And then set a really gentle intention. Maybe it's that, you might connect with someone and smile softly at them today. You don't even need to be speaking necessarily to make connection. Or maybe you need quietness or retreat, or maybe you've got to go back to work. Whatever it is, I'll invite you to find just some sense of grounding within you, whether no matter what happens, whether it's something uncomfortable or something that's joyful. Can you just be in that equanimous space today? So thank you all for joining me. This has been a lovely series. We're at the end of our 8. And if you haven't given me your email address and you want to be sent some of those recordings, I'm happy to do that. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are amazing.